Hello guys, today I'll be ranking every Nintendo console and handheld. As you can see here, I have a tier list of the SNES, Nintendo Switch, Virtual Boy, Wii U, Nintendo Wii, Nintendo Game Boy, Nintendo 3DS, sorry, Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo Game Boy Advance, Nintendo Game Boy Color, Nintendo DS, Nintendo Game Boy Original, Nintendo Gamecube, NES, and N64. So we're going to be ranking all these consoles, and I'm going to start in chronological order, so let's start with actually NES. Released in 1985 in North America, which is, 1985, yeah. What do I think of this console and its library? I guess I'm ranking it by. I think it has a pretty solid library. It has a really big library for sure. That's why almost like a lot of the games from its library ported to like other consoles such as Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Wii and Nintendo Wii U. And personally, I think this console is pretty solid for the time it came out, which was like 35 years ago now. So I would put this console in pretty solid A tier. You know, I didn't grow up in the 80s, of course, but from what I can say from playing these games on like modern consoles, they're pretty good. I like them. Next up, the SNES. SNES, all you need to know about it is that it's a direct sequel to the NES, basically. Released in 1990, I believe, and it's basically better than the NES in every way. It's better than the NES in every way. 16-bit console, competed against the Sega Genesis. Pretty good. I love it. Nintendo. No, let's see. What console came next? I guess the Virtual Boy came next, or the Game Boy. The Game Boy was 1989, but what do I think of the Game Boy? For its time in 1989, a handheld that could play like games such as Mario, even though it was black and white. Pretty good console. I guess handheld, but I'm gonna call it a console for the sake of this video. Pretty good console for its time. Played a lot, has a really good library. Super Mario Land. Love the music. Love the gameplay from it. I would put this as a solid, B tier. Could have been, not my favorite handheld from Nintendo, but a really good one. Virtual Boy, the classic Virtual Boy. Strains your eyes, causes eye damage. Yeah, this is like the only console where I wouldn't blame a parent if they said this will like melt your brain. But yeah, Virtual Boy. I mean, for the time, it was a pretty innovative idea. But again, like, do you see the graphics for it? I mean, like, it's just red and black. Nothing was really virtual about it, except you had to wear a heavy piece of metal on your head close to your eyes. It would burn your eyes. Not like literally burn, but it would really hurt your eyes. It would strain them. So, where would I put this? I'm sorry, but D tier. You're kind of bad, Virtual Boy. I'm sorry. Let's do N64 next, since that goes after Virtual Boy. N64, one of the first, not one of the, actually, yeah, it's one of the first 3D gaming consoles. Not the first 3D gaming console, but one of the first. Also has really good games such as Mario 64, Smash 64, I think Mario Kart 64 also. All the games started with 64 that were first party. So that's how you can remember them easily. Star Fox 64. But I really like this console, and I grew up like playing Smash 64. Not on Nintendo 64, but on Nintendo Wii, which we'll talk about later. But I really like the console and its library, so I'm gonna put it as a solid, like, you know what? S tier. S tier goes in S tier, just because of the memorable games it has. What the next console will be Game Boy Color, released in 1998, 2 years after the N64. Basically, it's the Game Boy original, but it has slightly colored in, or has color, I guess. I saw it, and it, basically a lot of the games I can play on the Game Boy can play on the Game Boy Color too, vice versa, so it's just like a slight improvement to the Game Boy, really, not much. I guess, if anything, it's a little bit better than the Game Boy, so ahead of Game Boy and B tier. Okay, next goes the GameCube. GameCube. It was like Nintendo's first console that didn't really perform well, besides Virtual Boy, of course. But the GameCube only sold about, I think, 20 million units, or 17 million units. I can't quite remember the number, but Nintendo was expecting this to be a hit. It wasn't quite as hit as they thought. Still, though, a great console. A great console with such memorable games as Super Mario Sunshine, Super Smash Melee, and Luigi's Mansion. I did not grow up playing this console. I grew up playing the Wii, Wii U, and Nintendo Switch. But what can I say about this console? I like it. I like it a lot. But not as much as I like it enough to put it in A tier. When I looked at this console in real life, I was surprised how small it is, because in every picture it looks a lot larger. Like any promotion for the GameCube, it looks like a lot larger than it is really. Okay, next we go to Game Boy Advance, released in 2001. Game Boy Advance was actually the first handheld I played on. Not like the original Game Boy Advance, but the Game Boy Advance SP, which is like the square-shaped one that had like the dual screens. I played on that one as a child, and it was really fun to play on. I played a lot of games. I played Super Mario 3, or it was called like Super Mario 4 Advance on Game Boy Advance SP. But yeah, whatever. This was like one of the first consoles I played on / handhelds. I really liked the games on it. Pretty solid handheld. I would put it in S tier as one of my favorite consoles above N64. Next we go to the DS. Released in 2004, Nintendo DS was at first, not much of a success, but it eventually became like a big hit, selling, I believe, over 120 million units, which is insane. That's more than the Wii sold. Very, very, very insane. And it deserves it because it's a great handheld. I also grew up playing on the DS. And what do I think of it? I think it's like a better version of the Game Boy Advance, of course. But I feel like I have I feel like I want to put it in S tier still, but this is a hard one for me. I guess I'll put it ahead of Game Boy Advance because it's a little bit better in my opinion, function-wise. Okay, next we go on to the Wii, finally. The Wii! I've been looking forward to this one. I really like the Wii. Down to down, I really like the Wii a lot. Very, very good console, even though it wasn't as powerful as its competitors, the Xbox, the PS3 at the time. It still outsold them because of its reach and its memorability and the games it had. I really love this console. I really do love this console. And I'm going to put it in S tier because of that. Ahead of everything. Just ahead of everything. It deserves to be there. Where do we go now? The 3D... the 3DS. Released in 2011. I got it in 2012 for Christmas. I played it a lot until I sold it to get my Nintendo Switch. Ripped my 3DS. 2012 to 2017. Oh my god, I regret selling it. But when I got my Nintendo Switch, I quickly forgot about it, and I really, really regret that now. But I can just remember the fun memories I had with my 3DS. Very fun console / handheld. Where would I put it? I want to put it in A tier, because it's not as memorable as the Game Boy Advance SP I had, or the Nintendo DSi / DS I had. But I'm going to put it in A tier. A tier, where in A tier? Ahead of everything, just ahead of everything in A tier. Okay, now we're down to our last two consoles, Nintendo Wii and Nintendo Switch. First of all, Nintendo Wii U. Sorry, Nintendo Wii U, I meant Nintendo Wii U. Nintendo Wii U, what do I think of this console? I know, it was a massive failure when it came out. It only sold 13 million copies as of now. And Nintendo really was sleeping on that one, because what happened was they thought when the Wii became a success and it sold 101 million copies, they thought they could release any console and it would be a success, kind of like what Sony did with PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3, where they thought, oh, we can do anything, so PlayStation 3 will be a success if we can make it overpriced and stuff like that. But Nintendo was really cocky, and they made a horrible console, which only feature was the touchpad screen, which was bulky and sucked. But, I still love the console. Despite of how harsh I've, said about it, I still really like the Wii U. It was another console I got, when it first came out, or around the time it first came out. It has a pretty good library of games. Not the best, of course, not the best. So I'm gonna put it in B tier, like ahead of the Game Boys, if that makes sense for you guys. Last is the Nintendo Switch, released in March of 2017. I picked it up a couple months after, like I think 2 months after it was released. I loved it, and my Switch is turning 4 years old in March 2021, so to cap it off, I really like the Switch. I think it should go in S tier, above all the other ones. Of course. And that is my tier list, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you next time in another video, guys. Goodbye.